The investigation into singer David has intensified after the body of a teenager was discovered in a Tesla that has been linked to him.
I can't believe I said it, but it's true.
So, what started as a random Stan gone too far rumor just mutated into one of the most disturbing internet mysteries of our time. Like, imagine scrolling TikTok one day and realizing your favorite up-and-coming artist might actually be living inside his own true crime documentary. Yeah, that's where we're at. At first, everyone thought it was just typical celebrity mess, a rising star, a devoted fan, and way too many private DMs. Nothing new, right? The internet has seen it all. Parasocial drama, weird fan edits, messy breakups. But this one started to feel different. There were clues, timestamps, lyrics that hit a little too close to real life. And then boom, news breaks. A teenager's body found in a Tesla connected to the artist. That's when the comment section stopped laughing and started theorizing. Reddit detectives clocked in like it was a full-time job. TikTok went CSI mode, and every fan account turned into an FBI sub-branch overnight. But the real jaw-dropper. This wasn't some random tabloid fantasy. The feds were actually involved. Federal agents. Suddenly, everyone's favorite bedroom musician was looking a lot less like a prodigy and a lot more like the main character in a Netflix docu-series you wish you could unwatch. And if you thought the story ended there, oh no, that was just the opening credits. Because what the investigators uncovered next didn't just rewrite the narrative, it made everyone question who was really behind the screen the whole time. But that's not even the wild part.
This album is my life. Like, Withered is my life. Petals of Thorns and Lost Petals are what I wanted my life to be, and then Withered is my life.
Yeah, this is where the plot twist became a full-on horror script. What the feds found wasn't just creepy, it was cinematic-level disturbing. Like, this wasn't some awkward DM exchange that went too far. This was a digital trail so tangled, it felt like someone tried to write a thriller and accidentally lived it. It all started online. Of course it did. A teenage boy chasing fame and validation meets a girl who idolizes him, and suddenly, their Fortnite lobby chat becomes the opening scene of a true crime timeline. Cute, right? Until you realize the innocent bond between a 17-year-old and a literal preteen wasn't just alarming, it was criminally weird. The internet may have joked about it at first, but the more people zoomed in, the more it felt like everyone missed the red flags waving in 4K. The feds didn't just scroll, they analyzed. Every lyric, every live stream, every cryptic tweet that fans once captioned with heart emojis turned into potential evidence. The creepiest part? The song started to sound like confessions, like he wasn't even hiding it, as if the guilt was eating him alive in real time, and his only way to process it was to record it, for millions. Reddit threads started connecting dots faster than the investigators could keep up. TikToks went viral showing proof that his lyrics matched missing person reports down to the date. Fans went from vibing to his music to breaking it down like it was Morse code. Did he really say 7 years in that verse? Wait, was he referencing her the whole time? And here's the kicker. When you lay the timeline out, it's almost too perfect, too specific. Like someone wanted the truth to be hidden in plain sight. The internet has seen scandals, but this wasn't a PR nightmare. This was a real-life tragedy unfolding one upload at a time. What began as a musician chasing dreams turned into a digital horror story where every track felt like a breadcrumb leading straight to something nobody wanted to find. But trust me, if you think that's the creepiest part, you're not ready for what happens next. By the time the authorities pieced together the final puzzle, it wasn't the fame, the music, or even the controversy that shocked everyone. It was how much of the truth had been right there, hiding in plain sight. His fans, once fiercely loyal, began re-watching every live stream, analyzing every moment like hidden clues from a crime scene. The comments went from, "He's so real," to, "How did we miss this?" almost overnight. Even the smallest gestures, a nervous laugh, a glance away from the camera, a pause between words, started to feel like coded messages. People realized that maybe the art wasn't inspired by life. Maybe, this time, the art was the confession. And while the world obsessed over theories, the investigators quietly kept digging. Behind the scenes, they were uncovering encrypted files, deleted voice notes, and unlisted uploads buried deep within old accounts, things no one was ever supposed to see. Each discovery painted a darker, more chilling picture, not of a pop star gone rogue, but of someone whose reality blurred so deeply with his online persona that he couldn't tell the difference anymore. What's even more disturbing, the patterns didn't stop with him. Once the story hit mainstream news, other influencers, old collaborators, even random online friends started wiping their profiles clean. Whole archives vanished in hours, videos disappeared, accounts got deleted. It's like they all knew something, or someone was watching. Fans began noticing weird coincidences. Anonymous users posting cryptic messages seconds before new evidence dropped. Bots commenting lyrics that hadn't even been released yet. It was almost like someone, or something, was orchestrating the chaos. What if this wasn't just one person's dark secret? What if it was part of a much bigger web that no one ever thought to question? And through all this, the artist himself stayed silent. No apology, no denial, just silence. Until one night, a private SoundCloud link appeared under his verified handle. No title, no artwork, just a black screen. The track started with 30 seconds of static, then a single phrase repeated over and over. They told me to tell the story. People thought it was fake. Then the feds confirmed the upload timestamp matched the night of his last known login. That's when the internet broke. Millions of listeners flooded the track, convinced it was his final message. Theories exploded. Was he confessing? Exposing someone else? Was it even really him who uploaded it? Every corner of the internet had its own explanation. Conspiracy forums said he'd been framed. Others believed he was still alive, communicating through anonymous accounts. Some swore they found hidden frequencies embedded in the track, sounds that, when slowed down, revealed fragments of whispered speech. Whether it was real or not didn't even matter anymore. The mystery had evolved into something no one could control. Documentaries, podcasts, and exposés rushed to capitalize on the chaos. Everyone wanted their version of the truth, but none of them could explain one haunting detail. The final image investigators recovered from his deleted files. A picture of a studio, completely empty, except for a microphone still recording. No person in sight, no sound except faint breathing. And yet, that was the last file ever found. From there, everything spiraled. The more people looked into it, the stranger things became. Old forum posts resurfaced from years before, all referencing an experiment involving music, memory, and identity. Some users claimed he'd been working with a collective obsessed with turning emotion into data, literally coding feelings into sound. It sounded like sci-fi nonsense, until someone uncovered that a few of his early songs contained data packets embedded in the audio itself. Not lyrics, actual encrypted information. Suddenly, the story wasn't just about obsession or crime, it was about control. What if the person everyone thought was an artist had actually been part of something bigger? What if his art wasn't his at all? Investigators traced server logs leading to hidden IPs registered to offshore addresses. Files that should have been deleted years ago were still active. Someone was maintaining them, updating them, even after his disappearance. The implication was terrifying. Maybe he never really left. Maybe the version of him that existed online wasn't a ghost, but something created to keep the story alive. Months later, anonymous accounts started leaking unfinished tracks. They sounded eerily familiar. Same voice, same tone, but the lyrics referenced events that happened after he vanished. Like whoever made them knew things no one else could. That's when fans started reporting strange glitches in the songs themselves. Some claimed when they listened late at night, they could hear background noises, breathing, whispers, faint tapping. Others swore they heard their own names buried in the reverb. No one could prove it, but everyone who listened said the same thing. It didn't feel like just a song anymore. Soon, the obsession reached breaking point. Playlists dedicated to his memory turned into digital shrines. Fans left voice notes, confessions, and theories, feeding the very mystery that once consumed him. The cycle kept repeating, like the internet couldn't let go. And maybe that's the scariest part, because in a world where everything is content, even tragedy becomes entertainment. The lines blur, and before you realize it, you're not just watching the story, You're part of it. They say the internet never forgets, but maybe it doesn't forgive either. The story started with a song, but it ended with silence. A silence that still echoes through every screen, every feed, every algorithm that keeps suggesting his name. And if you scroll long enough, if you really pay attention, you might still find him. Not the person, but the presence. The shadow in the comments, the echo in the sound, the unfinished story that keeps updating itself. Because maybe the truth isn't buried, maybe it's still uploading. But the deeper investigators went, the darker everything became. What looked like a random series of coincidences started forming a timeline too detailed to ignore. Every interview clip, every live stream, every post started echoing the same eerie undertone, as if he'd been leaving breadcrumbs long before anyone realized they were following a trail. Fans began pulling up old clips, noticing his eyes darting mid-sentence, lyrics changing between live shows, random glitches in his stories that suddenly seemed intentional. Some claimed he was haunted by guilt. Others said he was mocking everyone from behind a screen. Either way, the illusion of innocence was gone. This wasn't just an artist under scrutiny. It was someone watching his own downfall play out frame by frame, like he'd pressed record on his own destruction. The internet's mood shifted fast. What started as curiosity turned into obsession. Every small clue became gospel. Threads exploded overnight with people mapping the pattern, comparing song lyrics to timestamps, even syncing tracks with crime reports to see what matched. And disturbingly, too many things did. The dates, the names, the tone, it all lined up in ways no one could comfortably explain. Some tried to defend him. It's just art, they said. People read too much into everything. But others couldn't ignore how consistent the signs were. It wasn't just fans connecting dots. It was journalists, digital forensic experts, even ex-friends stepping forward with their own stories, screenshots, voice notes. Everyone had a piece of the puzzle, and the picture forming was one nobody wanted to see. The most chilling part wasn't what was found online, it was what wasn't. Entire sections of his social media disappeared overnight. Deleted videos, vanished tweets, old comments wiped clean. It was like someone was trying to erase history in real time, scrubbing away every trace of what once was. But the internet never forgets. Archive sites had already saved it all, and by the time the takedowns happened, the screenshots were already viral. As the silence grew, fans turned restless. They started digging into his family, friends, even producers, anyone who might know what really happened. And suddenly, the loyal crew that once hyped him up started distancing themselves. Accounts were deactivated, bios wiped clean, projects canceled without warning. It was like everyone around him knew the truth, but couldn't say it. And then, out of nowhere, came the leaks. Audio clips, snippets from voice memos that sounded too raw, too emotional to be fake. He talked about mistakes you can't undo, about karma watching from the shadows, the kind of confessions that didn't sound like lyrics. They sounded like a man trying to rewrite his story before someone else did. TikTok exploded again. Fan pages slowed down footage, analyzing every breath, every sigh. Reddit threads went full conspiracy mode, connecting the leaked audios to real-life incidents like detectives in a digital war room. The theories became darker, more detailed, almost cinematic in their precision. But even with all that chaos, one thing kept haunting everyone. If he was truly guilty, why did it feel like he wanted to be found out? The way he released new songs after each discovery, almost like he was responding to the internet in real time, made people believe he was orchestrating it all. Like he was playing chess with his own downfall, one move ahead, one lyric away from self-destruction. Then came the interview, the one that was supposed to clear everything up. But instead, it made it worse. His answers were vague, cryptic. He smiled at questions that should have broken him. He dodged timelines, called everything a misunderstanding, and at one point said, "Art imitates life, but sometimes life gets jealous." That line alone sent chills through comment sections. It became a meme, a warning, a prophecy. And the more he spoke, the more he revealed without realizing it. People replayed the footage in slow motion, catching flashes of emotion that didn't match his words. A nervous laugh here, a tremor in his hand there. It wasn't just an interview anymore, it was evidence. But the most haunting moment came when he looked into the camera and said, "You think you know me. You think you figured it out, but you're only watching what I let you see." That line stopped everything, the music, the edits, even the memes. Because in that second, everyone realized maybe he wasn't hiding the truth. Maybe he was showing it, piece by piece, in plain sight. After that, things spiraled. Venues canceled his shows, sponsors cut ties. The same fans who once defended him started questioning everything. Streams dropped, but curiosity skyrocketed. Every disappearance, every silence became breaking news. People weren't listening to his songs anymore. They were decoding them, hunting for hidden meanings like archaeologists of digital guilt. And then the final upload happened. No caption, no promo, just a black screen and a distorted voice whispering a single sentence. "You never really knew me." That clip went viral instantly. Some thought it was an artistic statement. Others thought it was a confession. Within hours, his accounts were deactivated, his website redirected to a blank page, and the name everyone had been obsessed with suddenly vanished from the internet. But here's the part that keeps people up at night. New music kept appearing. Anonymous uploads on SoundCloud, unsigned tracks on underground platforms, all with the same sound, the same eerie production, and lyrics that felt like continuations of the story, as if he was still out there, watching, speaking through the static. To this day, nobody knows if those songs are real or fan-made, but every time one drops, the internet reignites. Theories resurface, timelines get updated, and old fans return like moths to a flame. Because deep down, no one can shake the feeling that the story never ended, that it's still happening somewhere, in some hidden corner of the web. And that's the terrifying beauty of it. The line between reality and performance is so blurred, you can't tell where the music stops and the man begins. He became both the storyteller and the story, the hunter and the hunted, the villain and the victim of his own creation. People love to say the internet never forgets, but maybe that's the point. Maybe he didn't want to be forgotten. Maybe every post, every lyric, every whisper was part of something bigger, a digital ghost haunting the same platforms that made him famous. And now, every time someone mentions his name, the same question resurfaces like a curse. Was it guilt, art, or something darker? Did he lose control? Or was this the plan all along? Because when you step back and look at the full picture, the music, the mystery, the silence, it almost feels like he built his own legend, a tragedy crafted with Wi-Fi, fame, and a story that refuses to die. So maybe that's the real horror here. Not what he did, but how the world turned it into entertainment. We streamed it, we dissected it, we trended it. We made his downfall viral, and in doing so, we kept him alive. And as the internet keeps searching for the truth, one thing's for sure. Some stories were never meant to end. They just reload. So, what do you think? Was this all a haunting confession disguised as art, or a case of the internet turning tragedy into spectacle? And don't go anywhere. Click the next video you see on your screen for even more juicy celebrity chaos, betrayals, and stories Hollywood doesn't want you to know. See you in the next one.